So today's video, it's going to be a bit different. Usually I'm pretty sure of the topic of my content. This time I'm not so sure. Is it going to be a rant? Is it going to be like, I don't know, desperate fishing for sympathy? I don't know. Usually I try to make helpful videos for you, the viewers. Tips and ideas that can help you escape wage slavery. That might make me sound like a mental giant, or someone who has succeeded in life, but the truth is, my life story so far has led me to a point where I feel sort of broken in spirit. I feel trapped in this wage slave life. I feel angry and frustrated. I feel like there is no escape. I have moments when I feel that it's just not possible to escape. I feel this intense hate towards my faith, but then usually I come to my senses and I realize that all of that hate is actually fuel. All of that fuel can be used to take you where you want to go in life. In this video, I wanted to explain my life story and why I despise the idea of wage slavery. Why I will essentially never, ever trust any company. Because, as I've said before, companies are designed to always look at employees like working capital. We're nothing more than work robots to them. They don't care about us, and most people they don't get it. The truth is, I've been a wage slave since I was 15 years old, and I have always felt that there's something wrong. I was very young when I started questioning the idea of wage slavery. The idea that you were forced to work, to live for the rest of your life. And when I asked my parents or I asked teachers about it, they just didn't understand what I was asking. They were like, hey kid, that's just being an adult. You see, most people, they don't question the norm. They just do what others do. And I've just never been buying this idea that we are free to work. Nobody forces us. It's just not true. The alternative here is to starve. And wages are usually so low and taxes are so high that you have to basically work around the clock just to survive from month to month. And it's kind of a social contract that's signed before you are born. That at some point in your life, you will join the working class of society and work. Now, there's different types of workers. Some make more and some make less. But every Monday morning, you are expected to be at some place doing work tasks that the company requires from you. And the worst part is, for me at least, you can't leave whenever you want to. You can only leave if your employer says it's okay. You are the slave and your boss is the master. That is the life of a person living a wage slave life. And this is how society has worked for a long time. And a lot of people will comment saying something like, well, how else could society work if companies didn't force workers to work? Well, the truth is, we never tried anything else, so we don't actually know. But I do believe that there is a bright future ahead. I do believe that freelancing in the future will change the work landscape. But as you can imagine, I wasn't too keen on starting my work career knowing these things. And so when I went to college and I had to pick a field, I really had no idea. So I went for an MBA because I figured, hey, office work sounds okay. And the funny thing is, I actually enjoyed college a lot. But in general, I think that college is just one giant wage slave trap, and I've made a video about that. But when I started working after college, I, instantly felt trapped. I felt the shackles, The only sense of freedom that I felt was going to the bathroom and just sitting and relaxing for 5 minutes. And I remember thinking, is this it? Is this what my life is going to be like from now on? Is retirement the only thing I can look forward to? Is reaching retirement my only shot at being happy and free? In the start of my career, I was actually fired a lot. Because if I felt that my boss was wrong, I would tell him. And if I felt that some assignment was pointless, I would just not do it. And eventually I had to sort of adapt and gradually learn to play the game of pretending to care about the company. So, for example, if a customer treats you like trash, a self-respecting person would stand his ground. But when you work in a company, you can't do that. You have to smile, always be service-minded, even if the customer spits in your face. And you do this long enough, and your self-respect disappears over time. And then something happens. You create this sort of alter ego at work. You know, it's not the real me in meetings. I pretend to care about the results of the company. I pretend to be angry when a project goes bad, but when I get home, I couldn't care less about the company or the project. I'm not the real me when I'm at work. Now, as a consultant, I don't feel guilty about feeling this way because I get hired to get tasks done. And when I'm done, I move on. I don't need to hear the company line. It's just a job that I was hired to do. Like a painter, painting a house, or a plumber fixing the sink. But still, I feel this enormous anxiety on my way to work. I listen to music on the bus just to, take my mind off things. But I think the worst moment is when it's just a couple of meters before I reach the front door. I sort of stop for a bit and I dread going in, knowing that I'm about to waste another day going to pointless meetings and staring at a screen for 8 hours. Let's talk about money. Yes, we all need money, but honestly, I don't think we really need that much. And to make things worse, we fall for these wage slave traps like buying a car, paying mortgages for a house. I made a video about that. Because, hey, everybody needs a home and a car, right? And I'm a big spender. I like to spend money on tech gadgets and expensive watches, and it's funny because I know it's just all a desperate attempt to fill that void in my soul. Most of the time, I can curb that desire to buy stuff that I don't need. But every once in a while, the wage slave trap makes me feel desperate to buy something pointless. I'll admit it. Still, I don't feel too bad about it because me and my wife, we actually do save and invest most of our income. The truth is, me and my wife, we could work 50% less and live very comfortably. But there is another wage slave trap: retirement. Here in Sweden, everyone's afraid that if they don't work enough, they will not get enough pension. So if me and my wife suddenly start to work 50%, we would basically starve when we retire. Spending all day in an office sort of programs a person. And I promise you, in reality, I'm not the mental giant that you hear talking right now. My IQ has dropped so much since I started working. I notice this especially when I find myself laughing at the dumbest and lamest things at work. People are so boring at work. They talk about sports and the weather all day long. And it's no wonder, you spend 8 hours per day doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, I'm essentially a trained dog at the office. I'm trained to put out fires and fix problems. And my manager blows the whistle and I come running, and when you do this long enough, you don't question it anymore. You do what you're told, even if you really don't care or want to. And it's exhausting. I'm in my 40s and I recently started to exercise and I like it, but I'm still exhausted in the evenings and on my weekends. And on Saturdays, I find just enough energy to make these videos. Now, the good thing about Sweden is that we at least get 25 paid vacation days per year. And I understand that it's not all countries that have this. And as a reminder, it's not because Swedish companies are caring, it's because it's legally required, like minimum wage. And it's not like the company pays for it. Actually, every time you get your paycheck, a portion of that goes to your vacation wage, so to speak. But my vacations sometimes just make me feel more depressed. I try to enjoy them, but in my first week of vacation, I notice how little free time I have in my life. And I almost cry when I think how much of that time I give to a company most of the year. I love my wife, and I'm very grateful that I have her. If it wasn't for her, I would definitely fall into the depths of despair. But I'm not a good husband. I don't give her enough attention because honestly, I'm too tired most of the time. The good thing is that I feel that she is the same way, too tired to show affection. We're like these two dead tired wage slave zombies. And I get the feeling that we're not alone. I don't have the energy to be a good friend, to hang out with my friends. I don't have the energy to call my parents. I don't have the energy to care. It's this vicious spiral, turning me slowly but surely into a wage slave robot without feelings. I've always felt that I have a good moral compass. Not saying that I never do wrong, but I always know what's right or what's wrong. Now I know that some people would say something philosophical like there is no right or wrong, and maybe there isn't, maybe it's just my Christian upbringing, but my point is, I often see a lot of people climbing over each other just to get on top. I've seen it so many times because sometimes they even climb on me. I would never do that because the corporate career has just never interested me. And that's why I think I work as a consultant. I'm outside the corporate ladder. I will, however, admit that sometimes stress does get me upset and I will accidentally yell at someone at work. But I always feel bad about it and I apologize as soon as I come to my senses. And I often hate myself for letting work turn me into a worse person. There are moments in my life where I feel like my spirit is broken, you know? I find myself asking, is life worth living? But honestly, what are my options? Becoming homeless? Ending it all? But every time I get down, I snap out of it eventually, because there is a silent warrior within me that tells me that no, I will not go quietly into the night. I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna escape wage slavery or die trying. Now, does this mentality sound familiar to you? Because my intent with this video was to assure you that you are not alone feeling the way you do. And I've said this before, I'm not some guru, I'm not someone who's escaped wage slavery. I haven't made it out, I'm still fighting. So, I suppose I'm just a wage slave like you. But I kind of get the feeling that we are in this together. We may live in different parts of the planet, but in a way, we're fighting the same war, side by side. And I can promise you this, though. I'm not gonna stop until I make it out, and when I do, I'm gonna find a way to save you too. I don't know how yet, but it's not gonna be a course or a book. That much is certain. Okay, so hope this video was okay. Like I said, it felt like a bit of a different video to make, but I wanted to get it out there. Do a little bit of a rant. Okay, that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.